Hello, Wonderhussy here, out in the middle of nowhere. And I'm actually not by myself today. I'm with my good buddy, Larry. Remember Larry? It's been a while since I collaborated with Larry. Larry, how are you?
It's been a minute. I've been doing good.
Okay, so Larry, you've been trying to get me to do this hike for years.
4 years, I think.
At least. What exactly are we going to be doing today, Larry?
We're going to be hiking along the Death Valley Railroad.
The Death Valley Railroad. I didn't even know there was such a thing as the Death Valley Railroad, but apparently it was a narrow gauge railroad running from the mining camps of Ryan and Lila C up in the mountains east of Death Valley down to the main Tonopah and Tidewater line at Death Valley Junction. The railroad shut down in 1931, and there's nothing left of the Lila C settlement. The town of Ryan is now owned by the Death Valley Conservancy and is off limits to YouTubers like me. But Larry discovered a secondary, very rough mining camp on the Death Valley Railroad just east of Ryan called Colemanite. And he says there's plenty of interesting stuff left there to poke around. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to hike along the old Death Valley Railroad grade and hopefully find some cool stuff. All right, are you ready to go to the trailhead, Larry?
We're ready to go.
Let's roll. Okay. Beautiful day to be hiking in Death Valley. Today's January 18th. It's chilly. It's like in the 40s. But look at that. Not a cloud in the sky. Just awesome conditions for hiking along an old railroad grade. Holy cow, look at that. So this was at one time a trestle going across this little ravine for the Death Valley Railroad. So this is the railroad that we're going to be following for the next 5 miles. A little pan over, you can see there's my car way down in the distance. Look how far we've already hiked. You know, this vastness of this Death Valley landscape really puts things in perspective. Wow, look at that. So we're walking along this grade. I mean, is that what you would call this, a grade?
Yeah.
That was stacked up by hand. Look at that. All these rocks stacked by hand. And they're still standing here all these years later. Uh-oh. Larry says that's a black powder dynamite can right down there. So we're going to see a lot of this kind of detritus from these old mining camps, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Keep your eyes open. You'll see all kinds of cool artifacts.
Golly, look at the background. Looks like we're in a movie. This is amazing. I mean, this is one of the most beautiful hikes I've ever taken already, and we barely started. Okay, this wire that Larry just handed me isn't just any old wire. This wire was used by the railroad workers, okay? Somebody had to come out here and grade this railroad and build the railroad, lay the tracks, so that the miners could use it. And guess what? The railroad workers had to live out here too. So apparently they used this wire as part of the construction in these really rough stone, well, I was gonna call it like a building, but it's really not a building. It's really just kind of a glorified windbreak. But you're saying they would string this wire up to like drape a tarp over or something across the top?
Not this one, but
across
the top of these little ones here.
Okay, well Larry just informed me that this one here, because it's so big, that was kind of like a store or some kind of big building, but apparently there's all these little tiny piles of rocks, and we'll go check them out. And that's why they would use this wire to kind of like support a tarp, I guess. So this is one of the little tiny hovels that a railroad worker would have lived in. I mean, just huddled under your wire and tarp. Yeah, I guess. When you think of how hot it gets out here and how cold it gets out here and how windy it gets out here, this was rough living. Oh, look here. It's part of the old railroad. Look at that, just still sitting out here. Wow, isn't that wild? That's what's so unique about Death Valley. It's so vast and so desolate that something like this will just stay there on the ground for 100 years. After about 4 or 5 miles of hiking, mostly along the old Death Valley Railroad grade, we finally came upon the ruins of the old mining settlement of Colemanite. This was never a very big camp to begin with, so it was surprising to see so many ruins still standing, although what's left was in pretty rough shape. Okay, so what are we coming on here, Larry?
This, I think, was some kind of either farm, staging area for livestock or something.
Livestock? Golly, can you imagine any life worse than that of a farm animal in a Death Valley mining camp? I mean, whew, talk about rough. It's not like there's any grass or anything for these animals to eat. There's no water for them to drink. Everything has to be trucked in. It's blazing hot, and you're just basically sitting around waiting to be killed and eaten. Not what I would call a good life. Look, here's part of like an old pot or vase or something. Oh my goodness. Wow, imagine that it was like somebody kept milk or something in that. Relic of a forgotten life. Oh my goodness, what do you suppose this was? I mean, this, if this was a dwelling, this was a rough dwelling. Oh wow, and look, there's more little bits of, it's like a broken teacup or something. Oh, it's just broken pottery. Oh my goodness, wow. So as rough as this is, it's just funny to think of somebody even having china in here. China. But holy cow, yeah, what? Oh my god, what do you suppose is behind the green door? Oh, well, I mean, the door is stuck shut, but we can just peek right over the side here. And it looks like it was being used for sorting rocks, maybe, sorting out the ore, some kind of work building. And look how the roof is just covered in debris and dirt. I guess that's like good insulation. Okay, anyway, I think I saw another kind of dugout dwelling. Oh, hold on a minute. Look at this. Here's a whole part of a plate. Holy moly. They had such fancy china, even at these rough mining camps. Let's see if there's a pattern on it. No, just plain white, but still. Okay, maybe Larry's hanging out in this little dugout. I want to find this one dugout he was telling me he found that has old newspapers in it. I can hear some of you groaning already. Oh no, newspapers. She's going to be reading them for an hour. Well, no, I'm not, because I think there's only a little tiny scrap left. And I just think it would be kind of cool to see. Oh my gosh, yeah, what a rough little dugout this is. Holy cow. Stairs coming down the hillside to it. And then it's just, yeah, dug right into the, look at that, dug right into the side of the mountain. Little tiny door. Wow, look at this. Oh my goodness, there's more shelves. Well, this almost looks like, to me, the floor, this is all just debris that's flooded in here over the years, like a landslide kind of. And so the actual floor might be like 3-4 feet below us. And so that was actually like a kitchen cabinet, you know? Look at that little door. And this cool little, well, it's swollen now, it won't close, but this would have moved to latch it. How cool is that? And then there's like a little really old leather pull. Oh, look, here's the newspapers. He wasn't kidding. Larry came through after all. Okay, so I guess they were using these old newspapers as insulation. I'll zoom in. Let's see what we can see. Home 10651, corner 6th Street and Broadway. The H. Jevney Company. Corner of 6th Street and Broadway, where? Oh, look here. Los Angeles Times. Oh my goodness. Doesn't have a date, but that looks old. Look, and there's a picture of some Chinese, I guess Chinese immigrants. Look, you can kind of read what it says. Champion noodle eaters. Oh my word, how times have changed. Well, I guess they had some kind of noodle eating contest. Anyways, so this was the LA Times from, gosh, what year? I can't say. Oh, look, here's some old comics. How do they do it? What is that, like Little Abner, one of those old-timey comics? Oh my goodness. Wow, then look here. This kind of reminds me of one of those old Thomas Nast political cartoons. Looks like Humpty Dumpty or something. Shall we reserve one for you? One what? I mean, maybe. I don't know. It depends on what you want to reserve. Okay, I think these papers are super old because look at the woman there. Like, that looks like a Gibson girl era. And then just just above her, it looks like it's in something about theater, and the font, the way it's written, that looks like the 19 teens. Isn't that amazing? I'll bet you anything this newspaper is from the 19 teens, and it's just astounding that it's still basically legible today in 2023. And well, that's because it's hidden, buried in this little mine dugout. You know, the sun never hits it, the rain never hits it, the wind never hits it. It's protected down here. Well, look up here. Luxurious knitwear is inexpensive now. White silk knickers, silk petticoats, special at $3.95. Ooh, that's a good deal for a silk petticoat. Harris and Frank. Youth, Boys, and Juveniles Department. Second floor, Miller Road. So it was like a department store, Harris and Frank. Oh my goodness. Okay, wow, I could be in here all dang day reading this old newspaper, but you know, I can't find a date on it, so I think I'll just go back outside. Holy moly, that was pretty cool. I feel like I just went into a time capsule, and now I'm back out here in 2023, which is just amazing to think that those newspapers were over 100 years old. Over 100 years old, just sitting out here. Okay, so Larry's up there on the ridge waiting for me, but wow, yeah, so that was that little bunker. You can see the little chimney coming out of it. And then I guess it looks like there were little pens. There's another piece of chicken wire for animals or something. I mean, I'm guessing maybe this was some kind of really messed up little farm or something. Oh my gosh. Holy cow, yeah, there was a trestle here, huh? You can tell. Not anymore. Okay, so the cemetery that Larry was telling me about is just right over on the other side of this trestle. How are we going to get over there, Larry? The friggin' grade is gone. How do we get over there?
We're going to have to build this back up again.
Oh dear, I didn't bring my work gloves.
We're going to head on around it. There's
okay,
a path around it.
Okay, so we're going to have to go down and around. Oh my goodness, yeah, look, you can see the cemetery. Oh my word, this is the loneliest little desert cemetery I ever did see. Golly, can you imagine being buried out here? I mean, first of all, they don't even really bury you because you can't dig into this dirt, it's so hard packed. They just piled rocks on top of you. So I guess if we were so bold as to move all these rocks, there's probably a skeleton under there. And of course, I would never do that. I'm not a grave digger or a looter, but look, gosh, you can almost make out that there was a name on there. Oh my gosh, it's so worn away. I can't. Anybody watching this that can tell what it said, let us know in the comments. It does look like there was a name on there, though. Forgotten to history. Oh man, how sad. Let's check out some of the other ones. I mean, it would be interesting to know if these were all men. Like, were these all minors, or was one of them a wife, a mother, or what about even a little kid? Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah, because look at this. Like, the pile of rocks isn't very big, so maybe they did actually bury somebody in this one. Yeah, really, it's just those two there that have the big rock piles by them. These, either the rocks and bodies got dragged away by animals, or they're somehow buried in the ground. Wow, what a trip. Oh, and look, there's one over here too. Let's see this one. Oh, wow, this one you can. It looks like his first name was John. And the last name, oh dear, Miller? John Miller? Well, I don't know about you, but where I come from, there's only 3 Johns that mean a damn thing. And that's John 3:16, John Deere, and John Mellencamp. Anyway, like I said, this is the loneliest little desert cemetery I ever did see. But, on the plus side, They've got an amazing view for all of eternity. You can see all the way to Badwater Basin through there. Wow, look what Larry just found over here. An old shovel. And it's sort of just been thrown right off the side of the railroad grade. Remember, we just laboriously hiked around where the trestle is missing there. So now we're back on the railroad grade again. And yeah, he found this old rusty metal. It's probably a coal shovel, don't you think? Like, weren't these coal-fired railroads?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there it is.
There's the handle right next to it.
Oh gosh, you're right. Look at that. The
Looks
wooden
like
handle right next to it. Oh my goodness.
It doesn't look like something you would dig a grave with. It's a flat.
Yeah, that's a coal
face
shovel.
Yeah.
Oh, is this one of those little dwellings? Oh my gosh, yeah, so here you can really see how rustic these dwellings were. I mean, just a U-shaped rock outcropping with some wire and boards to hold up a tarp. Wow, look at this. What do you suppose this was? Part of an old wall or so. Oh, what? Oh, this was a grill for cooking, huh? Is this what you're talking about? How cool, look at that. Yeah, sections of rail from the railroad. There's even part of an old tin plate tucked in here. Look at that. Some miner had his dinner, rocks for dinner. That is super cool. Wow, no kidding. So it's kind of like an old backyard barbecue. They put the fire right down in there and cook their beans right on top. Wow.
So on top of this is that little monument.
Oh yeah, the monument.
It's interesting if you want to go.
Oh, I definitely want to go check it out. We definitely want to go check out the monument. Even if it means hiking straight up this steep tailings slope. Oh yeah, there is some kind of monument up here. What could it be? I live for stuff like this.
Yeah, there's something on it here.
Oh, there's something written on it.
US.
Oh my goodness, yeah, look at that.
47.
US MM47. What do you think that? US mile marker? No.
No, that's a weird one.
Wow, that's a mystery. Anybody watching this know what US MM47 would have stood for? Let us know in the comments. Wow, very, very interesting. Larry calls this area the valley that time forgot. And he's been trying to get me to come out here and check this out for years. Like I said at the beginning of the video. I don't know why it took me so long. Because panning around, you can definitely see what he means when he says the valley that time forgot. Okay, so Larry's theory is that these were old stoves. So basically it's on a little tripod. You build your campfire under it, and it's got the little bucket built into the top, and that's where you would cook your food. Oh my goodness, look at that. What a fun design. Somebody was cooking up a can of paint for dinner. Yummy. Far out. Oh yeah, look at this. Larry just found an old horseshoe. Woo-wee, talk about good luck. If I was a less ethical explorer, I'd nail this right above the door in my casita. But I'm ethical, and I'm just going to put it right back where we found it. Oh yeah, because look, here's a skid that the horses would have pulled supplies on. Maybe this is how they got their food and water out here. They had to load barrels of stuff onto these old wooden skids, and then these poor exhausted desert horses would have to drag it all the way back here to this lonely, forlorn mining camp on the edge of nowhere. Okay, so we've seen pretty much everything there is to see in what Larry calls the valley that time forgot. Before we head out though, there's one last little miserable looking rock hovel we might as well investigate. Just one of probably dozens of these little rock hovels that were scattered all throughout this valley when the mining settlement of Colemanite up there was in operation. Yay, there's the car. Wow, I can see, well, you know how Larry calls that the valley that time forgot? Well, I can see how it's forgotten. I mean, it's not easy to find. It's 5 miles there, 5 miles back, and they're not easy miles. I mean, if you didn't know that there was something back there, you'd probably never even bother to go look. Larry,
Yes.
thank you for taking us on that hike. I appreciate it.
No
That
problem.
was pretty interesting.
You liked it?
You're darn right I liked it. You know, you've been trying to get me to do this hike for years. I'm glad you finally dragged my ass out here.
4 long years I've been saying, hey, you should go on this hike. But you finally made it. I'm glad you made it.
And I'm sure everybody watching is too.